When veteran journalist Andrew Neil delivers a takedown, it rarely goes unnoticed. But what unfolded on the Andrew Neil show this past week has sparked intense public scrutiny, not of Prince Harry directly, but of Meghan Markle and by extension the entire Sussex brand. Although Harry wasn't present in the studio, sources confirm he was fuming behind the scenes after Neil laid into what he described as the performative virtue and selective victimhood peddled by the Duchess of Sussex in recent media appearances. This wasn't idle chatter or tabloid speculation. It was a sharply articulated critique aired on national television, backed with a string of irrefutable examples, leaving even neutral observers questioning whether Meghan's public image has strayed too far from reality. Neil's commentary, which quickly went viral, called into question the credibility of the Sussexes' ongoing narrative of oppression and injustice. "It's very difficult," Neil said, "to watch Meghan Markle speak about institutional racism and colonialism while living in a $14 million mansion in Montecito, flown there on a private jet, funded by multi-million-dollar deals with Netflix and Spotify, and without confronting the contradiction." His comments drew both applause and outrage, but more crucially, they rekindled a conversation that many in the media had begun to tiptoe around. How authentic is Meghan Markle's message of victimhood? Neil didn't stop there. He referenced specific inconsistencies in Markle's public statements, such as her claim that the royal family refused to offer her son, Archie, a title due to racial prejudice, an allegation that was later challenged by multiple royal historians. "There's a difference," Neil added, "between feeling mistreated and manufacturing a narrative that suits a commercial brand." The remark struck a nerve and is reportedly what sent Harry into a tailspin behind the scenes, according to a producer who witnessed his reaction live via satellite feed. What makes Neil's criticism stand out is the factual groundwork he laid. He pointed out that Meghan's alleged mistreatment was followed almost immediately by a strategic media blitz, a high-profile Oprah interview, a tell-all Netflix docuseries, and even a children's book about compassion, all timed to maximize public sympathy. "That's not trauma," Neil quipped. "That's marketing." It's not the first time public figures have questioned Meghan Markle's motives, but the weight of Neil's journalistic credibility lent a new legitimacy to the criticism. Known for his intellectual rigor and political neutrality, Neil has a reputation for holding all sides to account, whether it's far-right ideologues or liberal elites. The hypocrisy, he emphasized, isn't just in what she says, it's in how she lives. And Harry, by enabling this, becomes complicit. The fallout was swift. Royal commentator Angela Levin tweeted, "Andrew Neil just said what many of us have been thinking. Meghan's performance is collapsing under the weight of its own contradictions." Public sentiment, particularly in the UK, seems to be shifting. A YouGov poll released days after the broadcast showed that public trust in the Sussexes had dropped another 3 percentage points, continuing a steady decline since their departure from royal duties in 2020. What's even more damaging is how this critique cuts through the curated image the couple has tried to build. For years, Harry and Meghan have framed their narrative around escaping a toxic monarchy and media intrusion. But as Neil pointed out, they've arguably invited more attention than ever by commodifying their personal struggles into global entertainment content. You can't declare war on the press and then launch a podcast about mental health where you name-drop your royal relatives, Neil said. It's either privacy or publicity, but not both. Behind the scenes, insiders say Harry was incandescent after the segment aired, and Meghan allegedly instructed her legal team to monitor coverage for any defamatory angles. However, no official response has been made. Critics argue the silence reflects a broader pattern, vocally condemning criticism when convenient but remaining silent when faced with fact-based opposition. In many ways, Andrew Neil's takedown serves as a turning point. It wasn't about petty gossip or anonymous palisades. It was a public, data-driven challenge to the credibility of two of the most talked-about figures in modern monarchy. And while Harry may not have been in the room, his reaction, fuming, frustrated, and reportedly demanding damage control, speaks volumes about the sensitivity of the issues at hand. The message was clear: the British public, and perhaps the wider world, is growing weary of selective storytelling. And when a journalist like Andrew Neil brings receipts, it's not just an opinion, it's an indictment. Whether the Sussexes respond or retreat further into curated media bubbles remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: the honeymoon phase between Harry, Meghan, and public sympathy is well and truly over. In the days following Neil's blunt takedown, the ripple effect has extended beyond British media. International outlets have picked up on the segment, and debate is intensifying across platforms like X, formerly Twitter, YouTube, and talk radio. For many, it marks a broader fatigue with celebrity activism cloaked in moral superiority, especially when the lifestyle behind it reveals a starkly different reality. The question now being asked isn't whether Meghan and Harry have a right to tell their story, but whether that story still holds any integrity. Critics argue that Meghan's narrative has increasingly relied on vague allegations, emotional appeals, and selective memory, all delivered with polished PR finesse. Andrew Neil's forensic breakdown has, at the very least, cracked open a conversation that royal loyalists and Republicans alike are engaging in. Are the Sussexes part of the solution, or just another layer of the problem they claim to expose? As silence continues to echo from Montecito, the lack of response may speak louder than any statement. For now, the world waits, not with bated breath, but with growing skepticism. And if the Sussexes intend to reclaim public trust, it won't be through documentaries or soundbites. It will require facts, transparency, and above all, humility, something their critics say is long overdue.